Hey guys, I'm Johanna. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, just come in, take a seat, not at the back, at the front. Let me see your face. I make videos about ancient history. I'm an ancient technology hunter. If you'd like to join the club, then just follow along. So, new year, new camera, new hair. Let's talk about old stuff. Just real quick, I wanted to shout out two amazing books that I've been reading over Christmas, and I just think that they're great. This is called Ancient Egypt 39,000 BC. It's by a guy called Edward Malkowski. I just found it on Amazon. It's great. Look how much I've been highlighting in it, and it's full of pictures, and it's all about evidence of ancient technology in pre-dynastic Egypt, or in dynastic Egypt that he thinks could be from pre-dynastic, and all about this Civilization X. That's what he's calling this theorized civilization that existed in Egypt before the ancient Egyptians. And then linking to that, this is called From Light into Darkness, and it's by a guy called Stephen Mailer, who is a mate of Christopher Dunn. He has gone to Egypt, and again, very similarly, he has recorded loads of the ancient indigenous stories from Yusuf Awan's dad, who was one of the last wisdom keepers from the Cometian people in Egypt. So he talks about origin stories, he talks about the real use for the pyramids. Like it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So right, today I was researching about sort of underground tunnel system. I was watching a video from Untitled X from Ben, and he did a really good video about all of under the Giza plateau, about the crazy tunnel system that is in and around that area. And Egypt is well known for having all of these like hidden secret tunnels. Apparently the tunnel system at Giza is connected to Saqqara. It's about 8 miles away, and you can literally walk through. Well, you could back in the day, and you could walk through to where the Sphinx is connected to the pyramid, which is connected to Saqqara. It's all connected, and it's so unexplored. Today's video isn't exactly about that. It's about something a little bit further south. About 100 miles down from Cairo is a place called Hawara, and it's pretty unique in Egypt because most of the desert in the Sahara is it's desert. Apart from the Hawara, it's like a little oasis. It's full of like gorgeous vegetation, literally as like you imagine an oasis to be. Pretty cool because it is where the Labyrinth of Egypt is, or was, or is. So many people don't know that the Labyrinth of Egypt is like a real thing. It's not a myth, and it was rediscovered 13 years ago, but like nobody knows. Well, some people know. If you know, you know. But if you don't, here's this video. So I went to visit Hawara not last year, year before, when I went on a tour with Ben from Uncharted X and Jimmy from Bright Insight. We went to Egypt. It was amazing. Most of my early videos are from that. However, I didn't actually film anything from Hawara because I had COVID at the time. I didn't realize I did, and I felt like really tired. I was just stumbling around, hoping to like fall down a labyrinth accidentally and discover it. But I didn't actually film anything, and I'm kicking myself now because now I really wish I had some really good reference video to show you. But I'm gonna do what I can. So the pyramid at Hawara, there's not a lot there now. It's not that interesting to see when you are there because it's basically just sand and what was left of a pyramid, because it was made out of mud brick. It wasn't built out of the same hard stone that the Giza pyramids were. However, the inside of the pyramid and all underground is all like megalittically built, and that's still all intact. You can't go inside the pyramid anymore because there is a water table. That is the reason why the area is an oasis, is because it used to be, the Nile used to come right up and around where the pyramid was, as was the theme in most pyramids in Egypt. They needed water to activate or to work. Because there is this sort of like ground penetrating water table that is rising, you can't go inside the pyramid anymore unless you swim, because it's literally underwater. But in the 1800s, Egyptologist Flinders Petrie did. He was able to go down and to excavate and record, because back like 100, 200 years ago, the water table wasn't as high. And what he found underneath and inside the pyramid is amazing, because I've never seen anything like it in the rest of the pyramids in Egypt. He found a huge yellow stoned calcite box, precision made box, very similar to the ones made in Saqqara that are in the tunnel system in Saqqara, but this is made out of like a yellow quartz calcite, like a yellow alabaster. And not only is it, there's this huge megalithic box, which there are these huge yellow calcite slabs that are lining the pyramid. And the reason why calcite or alabaster or this sort of like crystal rock, it has like properties in it that are very conductive. I'm going to get into the science here. But I've never seen that in any other place in Egypt. It's very particular, very cool. It's really annoying that it's underwater and we can't see it. But we're just going to have to trust in Flinders. Trust in Flinders. In Flinders we trust. We're not there about the pyramid, we're there about the labyrinth. So according to history, according to legend, according to history, around the Hawara Pyramid is a huge underground labyrinth with 2 floors, up to 3,000 chambers, and it was the place where they hid they stored the antiquities, the secrets, and the histories, and all of the pre-Egyptian history, and basically all the stuff that we are hunting for. It's in that labyrinth. Like, if we could literally get in there, all the secrets would be answered. So yeah, pretty cool. There was a historical dude called Herodotus, Greek guy, and he went there at like 150 AD, I think, or BC, AD, one of them. He described what he saw and he was freaking impressed. I shall quote him now. He said, "This I have actually seen, a work beyond words. For if anyone put together the buildings of the Greeks and a display of their labours, they would seem lesser in both effort and expense to this labyrinth. Even the pyramids are beyond words, and each was equal to many and mighty works of the Greeks, yet the labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids." He says, when one had entered the sacred enclosure, one found a temple surrounded by columns, 40 to each side, and this building had a roof made of a single stone, carved with panels and richly adorned with excellent paintings. It contained memorials of the homeland of each of the kings, as well as the temples and the sacrifices carried out in it, and of all skillfully worked in paintings of the greatest beauty. Interesting little excerpt here. Expert. Blah, blah. It said it contained memorials of the homeland of each of the kings. But they're in Egypt. They're in the homeland. Weird to say homeland, not like memorials of Egypt. Did they mean like Atlantis, the Atlantean Empire? Because if you didn't know, the Egyptian like oral tradition of where they came from as a society was that they were survivors from a deluge, from an island that disappeared in a day and a night, and they travelled to Egypt and they recolonized and they restarted the Egyptian civilization. That's their story. It's written on the Temple of Edfu. It's written there. That's where they claim that they came from. Just saying. So interesting. It contained memorials of the homeland. Imagine if we go down and we get into the labyrinth and it's just all this Atlantis stuff. Like, oh my God, so exciting. Right, back to where we were. Flinders Petrie. He was excavating in the 1800s, and he had a little look around the area and he found a huge stone slab, like freaking huge. And he was like, we found the foundation of what must have been the labyrinth that would have been in front of the pyramid, as per the historical record. It must have been destroyed in time. It must have been, the labyrinth must have been destroyed. So not much was thought about it until in 2008, this French dude he was an artist, a bit random, but he decided, he funded a whole trip out there, and he did it in conjunction with the Egyptian authorities, and they went and they scanned the whole area around the Hawara Pyramid to see if they could find anything underground with like ground penetrating radar. It turns out they did. Yeah, they found it. They found a lot. Very exciting. Very exciting. They said that it was a little bit hard because obviously the It was a little bit hard because obviously the water that is underneath the ground is rising, and so they could see they were kind of getting away in the ground. I cannot talk today. The water table that is rising underneath Hawara was getting in the way of the findings, but they could definitely see chambers, underground chambers, walls, pillars, like They could see it all. They could get all the data from it. It was big, exciting news. But do you remember this coming out in the news? Do you remember this being on telly? No, you didn't. I'll tell you for why. This is what happened. Very exciting. They were about to announce the findings of the Mataha expedition. It was called the Mataha. There was like a website about it. There is a preview video, you can find it on YouTube, that this company, they were like a graphic design company, were going to take all of the imagery that they found and was going to like render it into visuals that you could literally see the labyrinth and whatnot. And they literally end the video saying, stay tuned because we're going to do this. I even found on a website there was going to be a public lecture where all the information was going to be like revealed to the public, and it was going to be on Tuesday the 28th of October 2008 at Ghent University in Belgium. It was free to go. You were going to go, everyone was going to no. So the Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities shut it down and said that they were not going to be approving the release of the findings. They did not want that to be public knowledge. You go away, get out and shut up. Why? And then when I looked at who the Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities was in 2008, it was, any guesses? Dr. Zai Hawass. That guy is a freaking thorn in history, man. He's the guy who's like gatekeeping and roadblocking human history for everybody to... Oh, if I could just... I would biff him on the nose. In fact, the Egyptian authorities were so serious, they threatened the French artist and his team that if they released any of the information about it, then they would like come after them because of like Egyptian security secret act or something. Like, they were threatened basically. What is cool is about 2 years later, they did decide to release some. They were like, fingers up at the Egyptian authorities, we're going to release what we find. I did manage to find a copy of like the report of the expedition, and I will link it below because it's quite interesting what they found. I was hoping to see more of like the imagery, the ground penetrating radar imagery. Somebody somewhere will have a copy of them, and I am just begging you, please leak them out. Please. What does the study show? At a depth of 8 to 12 meters below, there is a grid structure of gigantic size made of very high resistivity material like a granite stone. Oh, guys, it's deep. It's 12 meters underground. It's made of granite. That is sounding super ancient. The massive grid structure of the labyrinth is also out of angle by 20 to 25 degrees from the Hawara Pyramid orientation. So maybe the labyrinth was there even before the pyramid. Interesting, a guy called Paul Lucas in 1664 to 1737, he went to visit the site. So he wrote a book about his published travels. Lucas states that an old Arab who accompanied his party professed to have explored the interior of the ruins many years before, and to have penetrated into its subterranean passages to a large chamber surrounded by several niches, like little shops. Endless alleys and other rooms branched off. This is sounding so similar to the Osiris shaft on the Giza plateau. You go down and there's like a chamber room with like little niches and they've got blocks in. This is just sounding like the same ground map. That's really weird. By the time of Lucas's visit, however, these passages could not be traced, and he concluded that they'd become blocked up by debris. And there's a picture here that says that they're from the drawing of when he visited in the 1600s. That's what you could see above the ground. All of that is just completely gone today. So there must have been some sort of labyrinth entrance temple. Richard Pocock, what a name. He was the next explorer to visit around 1740. He wrote that they observed at a great distance the temple of the labyrinth, and being about a league from it, they observed several heaps of ruins covered with sand, lots of stone all around. So that there must have been a temple above ground, the temple of the labyrinth. That is now utterly, completely gone. If we are ever going to discover what is in those chambers, we need to do it, and we need to do it really quickly because the water table is rising. You can't get in the pyramid anymore. Who knows how much of the chambers is just going to be literally lost underwater. We're never going to know what's under there. It's really frustrating. But the more that people know about it and they know what's happening and they know the blockage that's happening, I guess the more in the future we could maybe petition, or maybe when the next Supreme Council leader, we could petition that person, because I think it's really important. And in my mind, the theory that I'm running with now is that like 10,000 years ago, if there was a huge deluge, and you got the Younger Dryas comet, and the world basically turned to crap. And it was very scary. And I imagine what people would do is they'd go to ground. You would build safety underground, because who knew when the sky was next going to fall in. So you would try and like preserve your family and your evidence and your everything. You preserve it underground. And I think that this happened not just in Egypt. I think it happened all over. In Turkey, there is the underground city found there. And I even found an underground cave system literally 20 minutes from my house. So if you don't know about it, I'm going to tell you about it. The Chiselehurst Caves are a 25-mile underground cave system that are literally near my house in South London. I had if you don't know it's there, you'd never know it's there. That's the whole point of like a secret underground cave system. It is there, it's open to the public. They say that they think it started, like the Saxons were the first people to like carve it out, but it's a pretty random thing for Saxons to do. I'm wondering whether or not the Chiselehurst Caves are in fact older, like way older, and do they connect to this time when humans were trying to get underground to survive? It worked. The Chiselehurst Caves were quite unique because in the war, thousands of people in London lived in the Chiselehurst Caves in the war, and they slept there and they lived there because the war was like bombing their houses. It wasn't safe to live in London. There's this whole time period in recent history where thousands of people have gone down there to live. I think it could have happened many, many times before. Ooh, one other thing about the labyrinth. I was like researching labyrinths. Apart from the movie, there's like not a lot of information about the labyrinth or references to a labyrinth, but I did find there was a hymn, which is in the apocryphal Acts of Thomas the Apostle, which is not in the canon in the like Western Christian books. It was an ancient text that was found, written originally in Aramaic and I think once in Greek, and it is included in the Eastern Orthodox Church and the African Orthodox Church, I believe. There is a hymn in there, and it is about a man who travels to Egypt to find a pearl. There's a passage here, and it says, "And serving as a messenger, the letter was a letter sealed by the king with his right hand against the evil children of Babylon and the savage demons of the Sarburg labyrinth." And there's another translation a bit similar, says, "Because of the wicked Babylonians and the tyrannical demons of the labyrinth." Well, that's nice, isn't it? It kind of got me thinking. I was like, okay, and Sarburg, were they referring to this one? I mean, he is in Egypt at the time of his poems being read. So are they talking about the demons from the Labyrinth of Egypt? Sarburg, though, is an old name for a city in Iran. So maybe there was whole bunches of labyrinths. This was a whole thing that people did in ancient times that we just don't know. Like I said, the one in London, you would never know it was there unless you knew it was there. So maybe there are labyrinths all over the gaff and full of information that we've yet to find. Pretty cool. And I was thinking as well, why would there be demons in a labyrinth? That's really random. I was like, no, actually, that's probably the best deterrent security system that you could have back in the day. I bet 90% of people wouldn't go near going down a labyrinth if they thought that there was going to be demons down there. So I think that's a really good security protocol. If you had top secret information, artifacts, historical stuff that you did not want people messing with, just say there's loads of demons there. Thank you for coming along on this little journey with me, this little research journey. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep finding. I'm going to work out how we can petition to get this thing excavated because it's on my mind. It's since I found out about it, I can't let it rest. Thank you if you got to the end. Well done, you. This year's going to be epic. It's 2022. Very exciting. I've got lots of trips planned. I'm going to Egypt in September. I think there is still 1 or 2 spaces left. So if you'd like to come with me to Egypt, I will also put all the information in the description box because you can come with me and fellow YouTuber Annie XT, and we are going to be we're going to crawl all over Egypt. It's going to be amazing. I've also got special private access to Chernobyl in Ukraine. We're going to bring you all with me around. We can creep around Chernobyl together because I love places, historical places. One more thing, lastly, that I'm really excited to announce is that I thought I would make some cool merch for the channel as a way that you guys can help support me, but you also get something amazing back because you get a really cool product. And I wanted to make merch that wasn't like merch. So I've designed some stuff that's pretty fun. For example, I've got a bit of an in-joke. If you are in the Ancient Technology Hunting Club, then you will get this. I've designed a fake band t-shirt called the Copper Chisels. It came out of a joke that we were running when we were like on tour in Egypt. That basically everything we saw, we were like, oh, how's that made? Oh, copper chisels. So I've made a fake band t-shirt. So if you know, you know. And if you don't know about ancient history, it just looks like you're wearing a really cool band t-shirt. I designed it in a way because it's like a retro band t-shirt that the more you wash it and wear it and like make it like lived in, the better it's gonna look. I've also got some stuff which is an actual copy of the design of my tattoo. I've got a ancient history tattoo on my arm, which is like the pyramids of Giza, the constellation of Leo, the famous blue lotus flower. So if you'd like to have like my tattoo, yeah, check it out. Hopefully it'll be up and running by the time this video comes out. But yeah, it's got a little bit of merch. If you would like to support and get yourself some gear, great. I will see you guys in the next video. Happy hunting.